The Dallas Cowboys headed into Buffalo, and all of a sudden they are 2.5-point underdogs. And according to esteemed researcher Josh, this does not bode well for Dak. In the last 4 years, Dak only has one win as an underdog and has only put up 17 points when not playing opponents found in the pasta aisle of your local supermarket.
That's not true.
1-8 as the underdog?
Yeah. Brew, are the Cowboys being disrespected?
Not at all. Not at all. All right, first of all, Buffalo is desperate. We know Buffalo's talented. We see the record, but let's not be fooled. They have elite talent. I know some guys are banged up, but still. They're desperate. Their season's on the line. Dallas is fat and happy, right? Coming off the big win. Everybody's praising them. You beat Philadelphia. You didn't just beat them. You pounded them. All right, so they are ripe for a letdown. Secondly, Dallas isn't great on the road. They're 500 on the road this year. They're 500 over the last 2 years. They have been a great team the last 2 years, but on the road, 500. All right, so I don't think they're being disrespected at all. Buffalo can get this game.
All right, so to be clear, if and when Dallas wins, you'll come on here on Monday and say that is a great win. That is no tomato can anything, no Buffalo's 500.
Definitely not a tomato can.
No, but that is a great win that would be not expected.
We'll see how it happens, but it'd be a good win.
Get the grade.
No matter how it happens, it'd be a good win. We'll see if it's a great win.
Yes, it's not so much about the Cowboys being disrespected.
You think they are being?
Well, what I think is for, just the 68th straight week, the Bills are being overly respected. I mean, Vegas can't. They're like they can't quit the Bills.
Yeah.
The Vegas and the general public and the people calling the games.
None of us can, to be honest.
No. So for some of us, it's easy to quit the narcotic if you never got on it. But for other people, you're always going to be looking back at it like, oh, I don't know, maybe should I go back? And I watched it during the game. You would have thought Josh Allen played one of the best games of his life this past weekend, the way it was discussed. Instead, statistically, it was one of his 3 worst of the season.
Some dimes.
And he had one play.
Early on, he was good.
Early on, he was good, and that play on the sideline, that was, to me, obviously an incomplete pass,
Correct.
But then ended up becoming, I didn't understand that. That was a great play by him, even if it should have been an incompletion. But we can show you the numbers from Josh. The numbers from Josh in that game that started off awesome, and then it was awful. And where I disagree with Brew in this regard, Greg, is I understand the idea of Dallas, you're saying doesn't need it as much and they just got a huge win. But Dallas right now has to feel like we have to keep winning.
Yes.
And we win the division and maybe get a 1 seed. Like that San Francisco plays Baltimore, right? So San Francisco has a very losable game on the horizon. Philly has shown they can lose to anybody. Tommy Cutlets might hang 40 on them because everybody hangs 40 on them. And so
that's a bit of an
I shouldn't say that. You know what, Brew, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. What I mean is anyone can score on Philly, which means they're vulnerable. And so I think Dallas. As long as Dallas, San Francisco, and Philly all have the same number of losses, every game's a must-win for Dallas. Because the difference between the 5 seed and the 1 seed is night and day. So I do think they're being disrespected, but I don't think it's an indictment on the Cowboys. I just think it's that people love the 11th place Buffalo Bills in a way I've never seen an 11th place team be loved.
Yeah, I feel similarly to you. I think there's a level of disrespect because when you look at the Cowboys and what they've been able to do, all the wins that they have piled up, you even put them out here, tomato cans. This was their first win against a team that was not a tomato can, and obviously we know that the Philadelphia has some issues on the defensive side of the ball. Now you're playing against the Buffalo Bills, a team who just had a really good win against Patrick Mahomes, and I think that's what the Vegas is looking at like, oh, well, they just went into Arrowhead and they just beat Mahomes and they're desperate. All the things you said is why we still enjoy watching a guy like Josh Allen just crawl out of the back and then say, we're still here, we're still in it. However, to your point, Dallas has so much still yet to play for. I don't think this is going to be a game where they let up. Now, they have had their home stretch. They've been home for about a month. This will be their first road game in a while. I think if there's anything, they might get off to a slower start, but I think they find their footing and they still get it done.
Well, they're also in the gauntlet, and we saw Philly just come out of their gauntlet. Now, they're right in the middle. Seattle, Philly, Now Buffalo, then Miami, Detroit. So is it? I think it affected Philadelphia having all those tough games in a row. We'll see if it affects Dallas.
I think it, but
this is a different type of a comp.
And they're early. Like all of a sudden now, I don't know how you feel about Seattle. If Seattle's now part of a gauntlet, or is Seattle a bad team? Like
they're not a tomato can.
Okay.
Now they're looking like they might end up being bad. They might win 7 games this year.
Here's the other part of it, and I know people think that I'm just here to take shots at the Bills, but this I think is just a sober, fair analysis. Going into that game, you guys were talking about the Bills are the more desperate team. Correct. The Bills were the team coming off a bye. The Chiefs were coming off a brutal loss where their running back evidently got hurt, missed him for the game. They were the more injured team. Right. The Bills got out 14-0. And despite all of that, I would argue Buffalo did everything they could to blow that football game. That Buffalo, at the end of the game, the way they called plays when they were trying to go for the lead was inexplicable. Right. None of us think that the Bills earned that offsides call. Like, that's something they did. They benefited from it. Yeah. But they You
can say it.
What?
You don't want to say it, but I'll say it for you. They basically lost.
No, I'm not saying
Bills?
No,
yeah, they basically lost.
That is not what I'm saying.
You're mocking.
They basically lost.
No, they won
Everyone
that game.
at home knows the Bills basically lost.
I don't know that.
Basically lost. I'm not trying to be.
No.
Do you think once that happened, you thought, you know what, Chiefs won this game? They got saved by a flag. It's fine. The Bills basically lost. If the Chiefs got robbed,
happen all the time. They won that game.
I want to be very clear.
They won it because they basically lost.
Wiles is trying to set me up for something, and
I'm kind of right, though. Am I 100% wrong?
You are
100% wrong that the Bills won that game outright? You feel totally happy with it. The whole world of sports media is complaining about it. It's because they basically lost.
Okay, I don't believe they basically lost. What I am saying is they did all of the things you would need to do to lose that game.
Yeah,
and the Chiefs' self-inflicted errors plus some very questionable decision-making by Carl Jeffers' crew ended up allowing them to win. But I don't look at the Bills as a team that's coming into this game rolling, is my point. They are coming, going into the bye, they were struggling. This game, they played awesome for a quarter and a half and then held on for dear life for 2.5 quarters and tried to blow it. Dallas, on the other hand, has been playing the best football in the league for 2 months. Now, maybe, Bruce, they're due for a loss thing. Maybe that's true, and maybe the weather's bad in Buffalo. Maybe it's a sloppy game. I don't know. But the Cowboys are a far better team than Buffalo, and being 2.5-point dogs to me is too much.
You agree, though.
I don't agree.
A little bit.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.